Welcome back, everyone, to the Sports Talkline Network. I am your host, Joshua Griffith, and this is the Unnamed Sports Show. Other side of the NCAA bracket today, as we are going to get ready for the South and the Midwest bracket to tip things off for Saturday. We are also going to recap the action from yesterday's first four matchups. Before we get into things, make sure to like the video down below, subscribe to the Sports Talkline channel, and just know that we're going to have you covered for the whole tournament. So throw on that notification button too, so you don't miss any of the action this year. Like I just said, we have the first four action from today. And if you missed any of the games, we have all of the highlights already up on the Sports Talkline Network, so you can check them out there. However, for anyone that has missed it, let's get you caught up with the games before we look at the rest of the bracket. So, Texas Southern took on Mount St. Mary's in the first game of the day, and they jumped out to an early 15 lead after a layup at 9:13 left in the first half, thanks to DeAndre Thomas. The teams would battle back and forth in a low-scoring first half, and Damian Jean-Qui would extend the lead to 10 at the end of the half as he would drive to end to beat the buzzer with a nice little floater. Texas Southern would storm back to start the second half with an 11-0 run, capped off with a Jordan Gilliam 3 for the 31-30 lead. He would continue with the hot hand as he would hit another 3, part of his 12 points on the night, to make it 46-42. St. Mary's wasn't able to do anything really in the second half against Texas Southern and would all but seal it their own fate late in the game with a foul from Mizia Offram on John Walker III as he was taking a shot from 3. So Texas would take the game 60-52. Walker had 19 points and 9 rebounds in the victory, and they will take on the number 1 seed Michigan Wolverines. Next up on the slot of games was Drake and Wichita State. Gilbert would get the Shockers going with a jumper from the foul line before driving and finding a cutting Morris Udeze for the 2. They would lead by 12 before Drake would respond. Joseph Yosefu would get a steal and take it all the way for the big slam dunk. And then he would show off his long range for a 3 to close at the half and cut the lead to just 21-20. Wichita State would start the second half on a run, much like the first, thanks to a 3 from Dexter Dennis. They would push things back up to 11 before Drake would start to claw back a bit. First, it was a Murphy 3 for a big dunk by Issa Samaki to make it a just 3-point lead. The game would go right down to the wire as the teams would trade back and forth, and after Drake would retake the lead by 4, Dennis would hit a late 3 to give the Shockers kind of a final chance, but Gilbert couldn't hit the buzzer beater shot for the 3-point attempt to give them the lead. So Drake would hold on for the thrilling 53-52 victory. Yosefu had 21 points in the win as Drake will take on USC. That is not the right Drake, but they did start from the bottom and now they are here. So we'll move on to Norfolk State Spartans versus Appalachian State. It was just as exciting as the last 2 games. Appalachian State and Norfolk, which I will dub the battle of going to lose to Gonzaga. Jalen Hawkins would give Norfolk the 19-11 lead with a 3 9 minutes into the game. He would go on to hit another 3 later, and they would continue to build their first half lead. Nia Chambers would throw an exclamation mark with a big dunk, and the score was 36-18. Appalachian State would make this a game in the second as they found their legs from 3. Justin Forrest would cut things to 8 with a long range 3, 8 minutes into the second half. And Forest would actually take the lead for Appalachian State with another 3 as they came all the way back from 18 points down. Then, because why not, he decided to hit one from the logo. Props, man. That's game. Despite his 18 points on the night, Norfolk would respond with a drive to get to the foul line. They would hang on despite 2 late attempts by Appalachian State for the 54-53 win. The last game of the first 4 might have been the most exciting. And if this is anything of what is to come for the March Madness tournament, like, we have so much to be excited for. So Michigan State started out on a 9-2 run before Jamie Yaquez Jr. Get ready for this name. It's going to be said all throughout this highlight package and hopefully throughout the first round. He would hit a 3 for the Bruins, and things were tied up at 13. But the Spartans would get kind of their groove. Aaron Henry would hit a 3 for the 9-point lead, and they would push it to 13 for Jaquez. Again, would hit a long 2 to kill the half and cut the lead to 44-34 for the Michigan State Spartans at half. But so far, just like every game we have seen tonight, a lead at half means absolutely nothing. So Johnny Juzang would cut the lead to 6 in the second half, and UCLA would come all the way back, but it wouldn't be until the 5:26 mark off a beautiful move and layup from Jules Bernard. Made it 67-66. The two teams were pretty evenly matched on the night, which was fun to watch, and it showed as things stayed really close right down to the end. Michigan State would get a 5-point lead again before Jaquez would show his flashes once more. He would hit the bucket with 30 seconds left to tie it up at 77. So both teams had chances to win it in the final the seconds of the game, but they were unable, and we would head to overtime, which was just fitting for the fourth game of the evening. Juzang would hit the back-to-back buckets to start OT before Bernard would find Cody Riley for a two-handed dunk. UCLA was able to hold on for the 86-80 win. Jamie Jaquez, like I said, went off for career-high 27 points on the night. Juzang had 23 as the Bruins will look to continue things against BYU. So what a great first day of action for the tournament. And now we know how the West and East are going to look. So let's shift our attention to the South region. We have number 1 Baylor taking on number 16 Hartford, number 2 Ohio State versus Oral Roberts, number 3 Kansas versus Colgate, number 4 Purdue versus number 13 North Texas, number 5 Villanova against Winthrop, ranked number 12, Texas Tech sitting at 16 against Utah State, Florida at number 7 against number 10 Virginia Tech, and number 8 North Carolina versus number 9 Wisconsin. So the favorites in this bracket, Baylor is obviously the number 1 seed, but they might not be technically the favorites in the South bracket. I'm going to get into why I don't think they're the favorites shortly, but my favorite is Ohio State. Out of the Big Ten, the scrappy, small ball style playing, they've been playing some really good basketball lately, and they might be able to roll into a Final Four spot. They're 21-9 record this year, and thanks to the Palm rankings, Ken Pomeroy, shout out to you, the one and only, have them ranked 7th among teams in the tournament. And part of the reason why is a 122.4 adjusted offensive efficiency rate per 100 possessions. And that's 4th in the nation. So they can run and they can shoot the threes. Head coach Chris Holtman will have his team prepared to go for a big tournament like this. So look for Ohio State to make some waves in this tournament. If we're going to look for possible upsets, one of the reasons why I don't like Baylor is coming out of the South. And you know what? Prove me 100% wrong, Baylor. They have a potential second round matchup against the University of North Carolina. So UNC is always a tough opponent when it comes to the dance. And they will look to the play of their freshmen, R.J. Davis, Caleb Love, and Kerwin Walton to maybe steal a game in the second round. Also look for a possible upset with the number 11 seed Utah State over number 6 Texas Tech. And here's the reason why in 2 words. Neemias Queta. Okay, so the 7-footer is hard to stop for any team down low and was a big part of Utah going 20-8 this year. So some players to watch, obviously besides Neemias, is Max Abmas from Oral Roberts, who averaged 29.1 points in his last 8 games. And despite going up against Ohio State, he could give them some fits in the first round. It should be a short tournament for him, so definitely watch him while you get a chance before we get to see him in the NBA. Another player that we are going to see in the NBA next season, most likely, is Moses Moody, and he should be a high lottery pick. So the Razorbacks could go far in the tournament, and a lot of it will depend on the play of the 6'6". So let's get right to the final bracket of the tournament with the Midwest region. So Illinois will get things off as the number 1 seed against number 16 Drexel, before seeing number 8 seed Loyola Chicago against Georgia Tech. Number 5 Tennessee will take on Oregon State, and number 4 Oklahoma State will take on Liberty. San Diego State at number 6 will face Syracuse at 11. West Virginia, the number 3 spot, will take on Morehead State with 14. Clemson at 7 will take on Rutgers at the 10 spot. And Houston at number 2 will take on Cleveland State with the number 15 rank. So last but definitely not least in the bracket breakdown here on the Unnamed Sports Show is the Midwest that features star teams and star players like Oklahoma State's Cade Cunningham. So the favorite out of this bracket is obviously Illinois, coming into the tournament winning 14 out of 15 of their past games. They're going to be my favorite in the Midwest bracket. Ayo Dosunmu is a big baller and shows up in games when it really matters. He's going to be a player to watch in this bracket and looks for a long tournament to raise his draft stock even more. So if it isn't going to be Illinois out of the Midwest, it will be Houston. So number 2 seed are both top 10 in offensive and defensive efficiency this year. And no one's really picking Houston. So jump on that bandwagon, impress your friends. If you want to be that guy that said, I picked Houston. I picked Houston. Or if the Houston doesn't, work out, you can tell your friends that some guy on the internet gave you a really bad idea. So I have some money on Houston to win it all. So if everyone fails, I will fail with you guys. Some possible upsets is the Oregon State Beavers. Not just because I'm Canadian, I'm picking them to upset the Volunteers. They're on a bit of a roll, clinching the automatic tournament berth out of the Pac-12. Ethan Thompson, the leading scorer for the Beavers this year, has shown confidence in the group, and adding the fact that Tennessee is coming out of a COVID protocol, kind of has upset written all over it. So some players to watch this tournament in this bracket for the Midwest. Like I said, Cade Cunningham. Watch him, learn to love him, because he will be on either the Timberwolves or the Rockets next year. Okay, that's a bit ahead of things, of course, but one done for the Oklahoma State. The kid's the real deal. mentioned him a little bit earlier, but Ao Dosunmu, and I'm sure I'm butchering his name, could have been playing in the NBA already this year, but instead he went back to Illinois for that NCAA championship. So he will be extra motivated this year as the number one ranked team in the Midwest. So we have our first four winners. We have our brackets broken down. I guess the only thing really left to do is get the games tipped off. So make sure to let me know in the comments what you think of this year's NCAA tournament and the South and Midwest brackets. Sports Talk Line, we're going to have you covered the entire tournament. So make sure to like and subscribe. Hit that notification button. It'll just make things easier for you. You'll get all the notifications when our videos come out, all the highlights, and post-game analysis, recap, all those things. The first 16 games get underway today, but join me back after the first round as we are going to recap and break down all the action. I have been your host, Joshua Griffith, of course, here on the Unnamed Sports Show. I will be back with you, like I said, after the first round. We cut things down to 32 teams and get you caught up on the memorable games of Friday and Saturday. It was a long year without the amazing tournament, so we thank you very much for tuning into the Sports Talk Line Network for all of your NCAA highlights. Until next time, NCAA basketball fans.